The theme for today's roundtable is digitalization, data, and AI, the new language for business. We have with us today three highly distinguished speakers with deep knowledge and expertise on the subject matter. Companies around the world, including Indonesia, are digitalizing and leveraging on data and artificial intelligence in order to boost growth, expand their market reach, and of course, create new opportunities. But becoming a digital enterprise goes beyond just becoming more efficient or simply cutting cost. It's about harnessing new technologies, improving the customer experience, and collecting and analyzing data to make better business decisions. Ultimately, it is about scaling your business to reach new and wider markets, and of course, open up new opportunities. Digitalization, data, and AI are fast becoming the new language of business. And those enterprises and corporations that can master this language quickest are likely to gain a huge competitive advantage.
My very dear friend Hugh Williams and Dr. Rahmat Mardiana, who is a very new friend, but fast becoming a good friend as well. So, I think what I would love to be able to do today is to hear as much as possible from Hugh Williams and Dr. Rahmat Mardiana, and then I will follow up with a much more sort of, many of my thoughts on digital and data in the process of asking questions of the two very distinguished people who are here with us. Before I hand the floor over to Hugh to give his talk, and then Dr. Rahmat will follow Hugh, what I wanted to just say to you is, we're talking about digitalization in today's world. Where would we be without QR codes? Where would we be without vaccine passports? All of these things are happening digitally. That is just part and parcel of our life today in, just everyday daily life. But of course, commercially, a whole bunch of data coming out of that digitalization process. And you can call it, data crumbs. You can call it whatever you want, but there's data coming out of it. If you're not able to leverage those data, then you're not truly leveraging the power of digital. So you need to be able to do that. And of course, there's countless examples that we can talk through. And in fact, I know that Hugh is going to talk about a few examples as well. Without further ado, I would love to hand the floor over to Hugh Williams, and maybe I should call you Pa Hugh.
Mohon maaf untuk bahasa Indonesia saya yang kurang baik. Sudah lebih dari 25 tahun sejak saya tinggal di Bandung dan Ciamis di Jawa Barat. About what a user intents, what words are similar, how to describe makes and models and variations. If you get enough of that data, you can mine that data and use that data to power the future experiences of future users. And so what we did is build that at eBay. And so we really drove a technology revolution and a data revolution at eBay to fundamentally reinvent the core of the search product at eBay and make it a much more intuitive search engine, all using the power of the data that the users had provided us. So what turned around eBay? So it turns out that it wasn't just search that took it from low conversion in 2010 to much higher conversion in 2013. It wasn't just search, though that was the largest component of the eBay turnaround. It was also some other things that are pure digitalization, technology and data. So if you look at this walk from low conversion to high conversion, you see better search. Another thing that was incredibly important was just simplifying tasks for users. So we did simple things like make registration easier on eBay. So in the old eBay, around 2009, you had to provide your name, your address, your age, your credit card number, a whole bunch of information just to get an account on eBay. What we realized was that all we actually need is your name, a username, and a password to register an account. We don't need your address. We only need your address later on when you buy something. And so later on, when you buy something, we can ask you for your shipping address. That's the appropriate time to ask that question. We also don't need your age unless you buy a restricted product that's for people over 21 years old or 18 years old, depending on your jurisdiction. So if you buy alcohol, for example, on the eBay site in the United States, then we need to check that you're 21 years old. We don't need to know that up front when you're registering for an account. So just by doing simpler things, doing things at the right time, we're able to dramatically improve the eBay experience and sell a lot more on eBay. We also realise that imagery is incredibly important in the eBay ecosystem. And this is true for many websites and certainly for all commerce sites. So basically, the larger, the clearer and the crisper the images on the website, the more you will sell. And you may have noticed on that search example, the first example, looked small and ugly. That second example, large, rich images and a much cleaner user experience. So that was incredibly important in the turnaround. The fourth bucket of work that we focused on was merchandising. And what that means is adding features to eBay that are a little bit like Netflix or like Amazon. And those are those features that say, when you view this, you might also want to view that. When you buy this, you might also want this with it. Or people who bought this also bought that. So adding in the ability for you to understand, again, the behaviours of other users and help you have a better shopping experience. And then the last one, which was incredibly important in the turnaround of eBay, was just making the website and the app faster. It's as simple as that. A faster experience sells more. And so one of the simplest things you can do as you digitalize your business is make sure that your experiences are fast for your users, that they get great response time on the app or great response time on the website. Another thing that was incredibly important, though, as we worked on the experience was we focused very much as a team on one goal. So we had a digital technology team that was incredibly focused on the business and on the customer, and that's incredibly important. So we didn't just build technology for technology's sake or use data because it was fun to use data. We worked very, very hard to make sure that we delivered solutions that empowered our users. So our particular goal while I was there was to increase gross merchandising volume every year. What is gross merchandising volume? It simply means the dollars that are sold through the eBay ecosystem. And so you can see that period from 2009 to 2013, the gross merchandising volume was about 12.5 billion. And by the end of the period in 2013, the gross merchandising volume was well over 20 billion. So that relentless focus on a single goal really helped us unify as a team and deliver on behalf of the customer and the user. You might think that gross merchandising volume is really about is a financial metric that's really about eBay. It's not. It turns out that if you sell more on eBay, that's fantastic for the sellers. Right? So people who are building their businesses on top of eBay want to sell more. So if you can build a system that allows them to more efficiently sell, then of course they're happy. Buyers want to buy things. So when buyers are on the eBay ecosystem, they've got something in mind and they want to solve that. If you can help them efficiently solve their problem, then of course they're happy too. So it's win for the sellers and win for the buyers. And because eBay takes a percentage of every transaction on the platform, it's also a win for eBay. So focusing on this financial metric was very customer-centric because it's a win for the sellers, a win for the buyers, and a win for eBay. So when we got to 2013, eBay was back. So we'd been at $60, we'd gone down to $9, we were back at $60. About half of the value of the company was now in the marketplace. So analysts still valued PayPal enormously, very valuable asset, but they also again valued the marketplace asset. We were also taking share. Our growth year over year was about 15%. E-commerce at the time was growing about 11%. So we were taking share, probably not from Amazon, but certainly from others out there in the space. So from contraction, we'd gone to expansion, and a very, very successful story, all built around digitalisation, really focusing on technology and data. The first one, the story of a technology giant really investing deeply in its data and technology. The second one, a story of Moonpig, a consumer website, a commerce website, not technically very sophisticated, but the story of a company that really understood its customers and did the right thing for its customers. And then the story of Rome to Rio, a fun little startup that was very, very focused on testing ideas on its customers rapidly and making sure that they optimised the best experience. So hopefully there's something in one of those three stories for you that might help you in your team and with your work.
Was that, you essentially provided 3 proof points for why digital alone, tech alone doesn't do it. It's got to be combined with data. And of those 3 examples is one of the big tech companies in the world. But what's astonishing from your story from the inside was that they weren't actually using the data. They could actually survive and thrive. And that's such a great example.
For the opportunity in this occasion that we want to share about the information related with the digital transformation from the point of view infrastructure development. And actually for the Indonesian itself, Indonesia adopted high-tech telecommunication in around 70s through the adoption of the satellite communication. And then maybe around 2014 or 2015, 2019, we have also Indonesia digital broadband that we continue also in our development right now in the document until 2024, and after that maybe we have to elaborate more in our second long-term development plan from 2025 to 2045.
Oh, that's great. That's great. In fact, Dr. Ahmad, we get a few Indonesian students in our program every year, and they're absolutely outstanding. They've studied at your engineering schools, and I'm just so impressed. The development of the personal data protection draft bill going, will we see the bill passed soon? So I think that if you could please just comment on that, Pak Rahmat, that'll be great.
Okay. Thank you for the question. I think for the data protection, it is quite important also. The government is in the final process with the parliament about to agree about the law that it can be used to make Indonesian people safe in terms of the maybe in terms of the transaction, in terms of the using the digital internet. So we hope that this law will be issued soon, and I think that the Ministry of Communication that who is in charge in this occasion also has prepared several derivatives regulation from the law of the private data, Ujal. So I think we hope that it can be released soon because I think it has been discussed between the government and the parliament.
If you working for companies that are data-driven, or you've helped them transform to become data-driven, I'm sure you've thought about this very hard. So let me ask you to summarize, what are the 3 tips that you can give businesses that, people are here to become more data-driven?
Oh, good question, Ushwal. Thanks very much for that. Look, I'd say the first thing that comes to mind is keep all of your data for as long as you legally and morally can. So I think the story of eBay is a great story, right? So that the company kept its 15-year history of commerce data, and then in 2010 we were able to unlock that data and deliver enormous value using it. If they'd not kept that data, then we wouldn't be able to answer the query that I showed you. And I'm pretty sure that the folks back in the year 2000 or 1998 or whatever it was did not think of the scenario that we were going to use that data for. It was just very fortunate for us that they kept that data. Small group somewhere in the company and say this small group should transform the company. Transformation is hard. Driving change is difficult. Changing the culture of an organisation and how it approaches things is incredibly challenging. I think if you have a CEO or a minister, a president, whatever it is that the person that runs your organisation who is obsessed with data and technology, asks data-driven questions, wants to invest in data and wants to invest in technology, then you can drive a revolution. I think it is very, very hard to drive this kind of change without absolute support from the top. So that's tip number 2. And then tip number 3, maybe a little bit more sort of a geeky sort of tip, is if you're looking for somebody to hire. So let's say you've got those 2 things and you're looking for somebody to hire. Let's get started on building a data-driven company. I would say the first person you must hire is an analyst. Get somebody who can go and dig in your data and tell you amazing things about your customers and your business. That's the Moonpig story, right?
Conversation we've had, Pa Hugh and Pa Rahmat, really grateful for your insights, which have really centered around think about the customer or the citizen, and that's really the most important thing. It's just fabulous conversation. Thank you very much for that.